Then, as now, certain style trends came to dominate the fashion scene. Indeed, the clothing for the American women in the 1900s was defined by a variety of features, several of which can be readily found in bodices and skirts of the day. As was often the case, some of the previous decade's trends carried through to 1900. For the bodice of these early years of the 20th century, the high collar and wider, straighter sleeves, although slightly less tapered, found in 1890s garments, persisted in popular fashion. Also similar to the last decade, bodices of the 1900s had an asymmetrical, almost bib-like closure, in contrast to the straight back or front closures from earlier periods. However, at this point, a new kind of silhouette appears on the scene, known as the S-curve. This change came with the introduction of a different corset that was completely flat under the bust and extended below the waist in a deep V shape that curved. Pushing the stomach flat and in, the corset forced the backside out, causing an arched protruding back. With this silhouette, bodice fronts became looser and blousier in a way that hung over the waistline. Deemed the pouter pigeon, this frontal poof grew in size until about 1908. The following year, in 1909, still another silhouette, a narrow sheath dress that designer Paul Poiret created to be worn without a corset, came into the picture as the 1910s began. As for skirts at this time, the long bell-shaped skirt that began in the 1890s proved to be the dominant style, worn from 1900 to 1908. As with his bodice, Poiret's new silhouette in 1909 would also change skirt shape by the close of the 1900s. Since they were designed to not need a corset, the dress consisted of a long-line sheath with a high empire waist. The degree of narrowness introduced in this style would reach new heights in the so-called hobble skirt, whose name is suggestive of its lack of mobility, in the 1910s. Incorporating these style developments into her wardrobe, the 1900s American woman would have put her most fashionable foot forward as the new century began.